there are a heck of a lot of them. And the good news is that most people can actually get several of these revenue streams. So they are attainable for people. Not all of them, but at least not in the beginning, but many are. So before I share with you and go into the different types of revenue streams, I just want to say how important it is to always have several, because like I said a minute ago, I think that people tend to put all eggs in one basket, where they just think I'm going to live off of active income. And, it's really sad when I see people who have one income stream, or even two, if they're both active. So if one is active and one is passive, that's okay. But the more the better, obviously, right? And the real reason why that is diversification. So if you're just putting all your bets on limited number of income streams, what happens when something changes in your life? And, how can you promise me that it won't change? I mean, jobs are like the most unstable, because companies go out of business all the time, or employers let people go all the time, even great employees. It's not that you have to be a bad employee to get laid off. I mean, I'm a business coach. I deal with people all the time who had the company sold themselves, merged with a different company. Something happened, and I am going to let my cat out because I don't think I'm too loud. I know, honey. Come here. Come here, honey. Are you coming? Come here. Come here, kitty. Come here. Are you know what? You're messing up my video. You're messing up my video. Okay. You have to talk about revenue streams. You can be an influencer and bring in some money. Okay. Say hi. Don't be sad. I was making too much noise, wasn't I? So the revenue streams that I think you should have are passive and active, first of all. So it's better to have both. And you have to have at least 3 to 5, because 3 to 5 is attainable by anybody. You don't have to invest anything. You don't have to be knowledgeable in a certain industry. You can actually earn 3 to 5 revenue streams by just being you. So now, of course, how you earn income, there's probably a million videos online. Like, all these videos are going to offer you, earn money quick, earn money from home, make extra cash. I mean, we're not even going to go there, because of course there's a lot of non-legit things, or there's a lot of things that don't really pay you. So then you're kind of stuck. And but I don't think it's always the case. I mean, there's tons of legit stuff out there, and you just have to do your research. And when you do, then you'll know that it's a good deal or not. So, okay, now I'm going to share my screen, because it's really a lot easier to show you guys the income streams. Okay. And let's see. There we go. All right. So I suppose you guys can see my screen. And so I'm going to just scroll through this, and hopefully it will scroll with me. What it is it is the revenue stream that I use for helping my clients. And if anyone wants a copy of this, I'll be happy to send it to you. You just have to DM me and ask. And let me see. Oh, interesting. Wow, look at this. Look at this, guys. Isn't this cool? So I am going to make it full screen, because I don't think you can quite see it unless I get out of here. So let's see. Okay. So because I'm a coach and I mostly work with coaches, I'm being more descriptive, and I'll explain in a minute. So I wonder if I can zoom in on this. Let me try to zoom in so that you guys can see it better. Hold on. Let's see. Format. There we go. No, maybe that's too much. I just want to see if you guys can actually see this spreadsheet. Did that work? Did it work? Anybody? Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I think it worked, right? I zoomed in a little. Okay. So basically, anybody can do one-on-one coaching because all of you have some kind of services or hobby or expertise that you can coach people on, 100%. So don't get too hung up on the word coach. It basically just means using your expertise to help somebody who's trying to gain knowledge in that area. It's different from teaching though, but there is some gray area in between. It's a mix of teaching and guidance, and most importantly, motivation. A coach is somebody who motivates their students. Then the second one, and I think you guys understand what that means. So, and by the way, all the red ones are active income, which means you actually have to be there to do the work. You can't, this is something you can't just go away and it runs by itself. You can sell coaching packages that will sell by themselves, but you will actually have to do the coaching, if that makes sense. So group training, similar to coaching, but you work with a group and you offer them a session or a whole package. And by the way, these two, one-on-one coaching and group training, the route to go if you really want to make a lot of money is always going to be a retainer situation, because my goal for everyone listening is to create financial freedom. And in order to create financial freedom, you need reoccurring revenue, and preferably a mix of active and passive. So you can go in and you can talk to clients and say, I work on a retainer basis, and then you can book them for a certain number of sessions or month or however you do it. But it's a lot smarter to work on a retainer. You can get more done with the client, get to know them and get better reviews afterwards, get better results for them. And there's just a lot of reasons why it's a good idea to make these two a longer period of time. And then you'll make more money and you'll have more stability too. Okay. The third type of active income is a workshop. And I often tell my clients to do workshops as an active form of income because it generates quick money. So workshops tend to not generate as much money as group training or one-on-one coaching, but it could be if you have a lot of people sign up for one. Then it can add up, especially if you build a funnel and you know what you're doing. You run an ad, you can drive a lot of traffic into a workshop and make a ton of money. However, a workshop is, again, active. You have to be there to deliver the workshop. Consultations. So consultations are active, active income as well. And consultations are usually one-offs when someone comes to you and they need advice. I call them power sessions, but they can be anything. So you can consult with people. And by the way, all these things you could do while having a full-time job. So you could become a coach, you could offer group trainings, you could do workshops live in person or virtual, and you can consult with people all on the side. This could all be a side hustle as an extra form of revenue for you, right? So project work, someone invites you to join their project. You have a specific role to deliver certain expertise. That's just like having a job. So it's definitely a very active form of income, but it's project-based. So, a lot of times there's more flexibility. You're not tied down to that. So you can do this on the side as well, or you can do it full-time for a short amount of time. Then you've got speaking opportunities. Those can be really well paid. In order to get good speaking opportunities, you have to build a speaking bio, and that means getting really good at speaking and building a massive reputation, because when people hire you to speak, it's not because they say, oh, you said you could speak. It's because you have proven that you are a great speaker and that you also have credentials that people really want to listen to you. Okay. So I think that from all these so far, that one's the hardest, because you typically don't just come out of nowhere as a speaker. You have to really work your way into becoming a speaker. But again, you can totally do this on the side while keeping your full-time job. And if you get really good at this, you can make a ton of money, because speaking gigs can be really well paid. And that's another benefit of building up your social presence, because if you build a really big following online, or you publish a book and it becomes super popular, anytime you have a large number of people who follow you, you can up your rate for speaking, because the organizers know that having you at the event will attract a lot more people. So that's another motivation for you guys to build a personal brand, because if you've built a personal brand, you're automatically going to be able to charge higher rates. Another form of active income is a webinar. So the famous webinar. Now, there's a lot of webinars that are free, but in this case, I'm talking about a paid webinar. And a lot of times people call this a class or a training or course. But when I say webinar, I mean that it's a short period of time. You go online and you teach a bunch of people something. So it's different from a group training, because it's really more about delivering online in a moderator format, whereas a group training is a lot more interactive, in my opinion. So it's a little bit different. Also, something you can do without doing it full-time. I don't know anybody who says, I'm a full-time webinar person, you know. So it's definitely just one of many things that you can do on the side. But just like workshops, it can generate a lot of money if you get a lot of people to sign up. So that's a great one. And also you can do webinars for corporate companies. Those will be better paid than doing just B2C open webinars. So if you can find a corporation who wants you to hire you to do a webinar for their team, that's going to be really good for you. So moving on, we've got experiences. So today we've noticed in the economy that people want more real experiences. And when I say experiences, I'm thinking like authentic experiences in different countries, in different cities, with the hobbies. So they don't want to be a tourist or an amateur. They want to go and be with people who are really knowledgeable in those areas. So that's what I mean by experiences. Excuse me, my daughter is not sleeping. What's going on? Ivy, are you okay? Are you not sleeping? What's happening? Mommy, don't be sad. Mommy will come in a minute. You're supposed to be asleep. You lay down here, okay? Baby Tom will come. I'm taking care of him. Love you. I'll be back. Oh, there he is. There he is. He's coming. Meow, meow, meow. He might jump on you. No, he's going to jump on me. Oh, sorry, guys. It looks like my toddler is not asleep. She's supposed to be asleep, but you know, Murphy's Law, right? So I stopped by experiences. I do think a lot of people right now want to have those. So think of companies like Airbnb. They really showed everyone how important it was for people to create experiences by the success of their company, having people stay at strangers' homes. And then they even went ahead and extended it further and created something called Airbnb experiences, where you can book a session in any city in the world where they offer it for an authentic experience with a local. And I think this is really powerful, because you can be doing this too. So You could be making income by creating experiences for people who are looking for this kind of stuff. Anybody can actually create an account on Airbnb. There are some qualifications, but it's not that hard to offer an experience there. So that's an option for anybody. And even better if you can host people and offer experiences. But Airbnb gets a lot of traffic, and I heard that their business is picking back up after the pandemic. Now people have started traveling again, and they're even expanding to new products now. So take advantage of this idea that people love having experiences to generate some cash flow. The next one is events. You can host your own event. Why not? You can do all kinds of events. I don't know what you specialize in or what your hobbies are, but you can literally turn anything into an event and sell tickets. And there's lots of ways of making sales, but Eventbrite has really made it easy for anybody to create an event. So that's a really valid option. What do you want, honey? Are you okay? It's time to go back to bed, okay? I'm doing my life. This is the reality of working from home. So let me scroll down, and I'm going to show you. One of my favorites is exactly the green one, which is a hybrid. And by the way, if you notice, I didn't put in here labor as an active income stream because I don't really think it's a good model. This is going to sound terrible. I guess I'm really for self-employment, but I just don't think that the reason I'm kind of not into the labor thing is time. So right now, most employers are trading time for money. So if you're lucky enough somehow to find an employer who will pay you a full-time salary for working 4 hours a week, then I would be all for that. And this does exist. I know some executives who barely work, but obviously their employers don't really understand that, or they don't care, and that's very rare. So I just don't think that you can work 40 hours a week and have other income streams. That's just crazy. Your time, most people I know who are working 40 hours a week are really stressed out. So I truly believe in doing consulting, doing project-based work, doing a lot of income things so that you don't have to work a 40-hour-a-week job. I just am not into that. And that, of course, is my own opinion. So if it's working for you, that's great. As long as you have multiple income streams so that you don't end up putting all your eggs in one basket, then you should be good. Okay. So let me move this down, and the membership model, excuse me. Come on, then. Let's go. What's going on? Oh, look, there's Tom. I think he went under there. He's hiding. Okay, you can't keep interrupting me. It's time to get. What's wrong? What's wrong, baby? What's wrong? What's wrong? It's really, really late at night, honey. What's wrong? What's wrong? Ivy, I'm trying to finish my life. What happened to Bobo? Oh no, she'll be okay. It's okay. It's okay. Go to sleep now. Go to sleep. It's okay. I'll be back. I'll be back, sweetheart. You have to sleep now. You go to sleep while I'm going to do my live, okay? And look, Tom's trying to get up here. Come here. Come here, little pony. Sleep, Tom. Here. You sleep, Tom. That's my baby. Okay, watch out. I'll be right back, okay? Be right back. Well, it looks like it's not a good day for my life. My daughter's not sleeping, but I definitely apologize, and I'm going to try to get this spreadsheet sent to anybody who wants it. But really, I think that this is one of my favorites is the membership subscription model. So you can create a subscription or membership about anything. Literally, I've seen so many cool businesses, and it doesn't have to be expensive at all. But people really like having subscriptions. There's a big increase on people subscribing, especially with the pandemic. People are looking for services they can get delivered to their home, services on demand. They're looking for things to do. And I think any kind of thing you could do in that realm is creative, and it also doesn't take up all your time. And I say it's a hybrid formula because you have to do some work to set up your membership or your subscription and run it. Usually people want some level of contact, but you don't have to be there all the time. So it's hybrid because you're going to get the income every month, and there's going to be only a few touch points that you need to do to keep it running. So that's one more that I love. And so now we get into all the passive, and I just want to scroll back up and show you, if you noticed, there's a lot more passive than active on this list. Oh, I forgot to fill that out here. Okay, so drop shipping. If anyone has ever heard of drop shipping, it's basically, it's supposed to be an easy business model. But honestly, I think it takes some savviness, and I would definitely not recommend going into it unless you have somebody coaching you who's making money at drop shipping, legitimately making money, not just telling you they are. Drop shipping is when you open a store online, but you don't store the product at your home. You have an arrangement with a company who's shipping it out for you. So you really don't handle everything. You don't even have to handle the product, but it is your store, and the money does go through you and everything like that. So it's called drop shipping. So that's a really interesting business model. Again, all these passive incomes are things you can do on the side to create a revenue stream. And the beauty about doing these things, being in charge of your own money is priceless. I think more people need to responsibilize themselves for taking charge of their revenue. I think it's very naive to think that one revenue stream is going to take care of you throughout your life. Anything could happen where you have to stop working, and you would be in big, big trouble. So unless, I don't know, you inherited a fortune, or, there's always going to be some exception, but most people would be in trouble. So all these things you can do with not so much knowledge, because it's all learnable. Folio says, who's an online marketer, she says everything is figure outable. She wrote a book like that. And I truly believe that. I believe what it takes is the determination to make money. And most people lack that. Most people don't actually want to do much to make money. And it's just the truth, guys. It's really, I've seen so many people over my life that I can say that most people would rather trade time for money and go home and just relax. And if they get laid off, they get laid off. If they, I don't know, go bankrupt because they have medical bills, they go bankrupt. They don't really want to take charge of their own finances. But please do, because there's just so much benefit of being in charge of your money and trying to generate all these different types of revenue. And it can be really fun. I mean, let's say that you love comics and you create a store all around comics. So drop shipping kind of took over from eBay, except that eBay was not a drop ships model. It was an online product sales But I think that, you know, it's the same idea that anyone can do this. So, moving on, creating a course. So, you probably have some kind of knowledge. Let's say that you are an IT developer. You know a lot about development. So, what about training? What about building a course for beginning or aspiring IT people in a very specific topic? Okay. I'm not saying you have to try to replace their college education, but as you know as well as I do, people are always looking for learning in different areas. And I personally know someone who became a multimillionaire because he created a guide. He didn't even call it a course, he called it a guide to study for an exam. And somebody said, I would pay $100 for this. It's so good. And I think he was charging like $7 as a digital download. And he kind of woke up and realized the potential, and he created a course out of this guide and became a multimillionaire. And by the way, this was completely on the side. He had just thought I should create a guide for myself kind of and to help other people, and boom. So just to tell you, never underestimate the power of this stuff. One of these items might change your life. Maybe you'll try out one of them and you'll succeed in ways you've never imagined. And I think that we also have to remove, like I talked about in my talk yesterday about money mindset, we have to remove the stigma around making money, because money is energy that you can transmit for good. So like I say, if good people make money, they're just going to keep doing good, and they're going to be able to help more people with that money. They're not suddenly going to become evil. Money, contrary to what people say, I don't think money makes people evil. I think that really you deserve to make money. I don't believe anybody is somehow should struggle. And I believe this so strongly that I've made this my mission. So for the past 3 years, I've been doing business coaching for this very reason, because I want people to succeed. And part of succeeding means having income streams. So how can I tell you, oh yeah, you can be successful if you're trading all your hours of your waking life for working for some ass? Oh, sorry, I can't say that on YouTube. Okay, you get my point. So I'm really passionate about helping you build revenue streams. And I'm actually going to be doing 2 money workshops in June that I will link in the comments after this live for the replay. So in those workshops, I'm going to be giving you actionable items that you should do right now if you want to start any of these things. And you don't have to start any of them. It's more about how to deal with money so that you make more of it. And that's the topic of my workshop. I just call it the money workshop, but it's really about how to take action. So you can listen to all these things and maybe get inspired, and maybe you'll even go on YouTube and start looking these things up and watching videos and people who do drop shipping, who made millions, and you'll be really inspired. I love that. I love that because it's putting something in your head that you can be more, you can have more, you deserve more. Okay. So a book, of course, sometimes I admit that I kind of think, oh, no one reads anymore. Like, this is just me because I read, but I truly believe as a marketer that most people prefer video, and the statistics show, book sales have decreased. However, we have so many amazing tools today to create books that you can self-publish and you can self-market yourself. And every single day I get notified about a book that has become a top seller. So the business still exists, guys. And a book is such an amazing passive income source because you put one-time effort and it can sell for years to come. Who knows? You might win the lottery because your book becomes really popular and gets translated into multiple languages and becomes an international bestseller. So then you even have more revenue so why not take your knowledge, take your interest, and there's plenty of coaches that teach this stuff, how to write a book. And it's not as hard as you think, truly. So affiliate revenue, one of my favorites, of course. The affiliate marketing space or network marketing space has really exploded in the past few years, but there's a big difference between the two. So in the affiliate revenue model, what happens is every time that you sell a product that belongs to a company, you get a percentage. So they have an agreement with you that you're going to get so much money every time the product sells. Usually what we do with affiliates is we give them a link. I have a software that I can create affiliate links for you. So if you later on want to sell one of my programs, reach out. And it's become so easy to help people make money. And the idea is simple. It's like, help me make more money and I will compensate you for it. So there are some really easy ways to create affiliate revenue. One of the easiest ways is just to go right now on Amazon and look up amazonaffiliates.com and create an account. And what that means is you can start generating affiliate links for any product that's sold on Amazon, which is massive, guys. I mean, so many products. And then you can start sharing Amazon links for products you recommend. And all the YouTubers do this. So if you go into some of your big favorite YouTubers and you look in the description, they will always say, here's the camera I used in this video. Here's the tripod I used. Here's the microphone. Like, unless they're crazy, I would say 100% of them are affiliate links, because this is one way that YouTubers make money. Okay. Or people put up resources pages on their websites, and you can recommend stuff on there and you can have affiliate links. And this all happens without you even knowing. Somebody clicks on the link, they like the product, they buy it, you're good. And the cool part is Amazon does something even more. With the affiliate link, somebody goes to Amazon, they look at the product, but they don't buy it, but then they buy something else. I think it's within 24 hours, you'll still get paid. They have like a special referral that you can still get money from. Isn't that cool? So digital downloads. Today, anybody can put something on a web page that you can download for pay. There's lots of tools. PayPal has a really simple tool that you can integrate onto any page. So right now, in 5 minutes, I could create a digital download and have the pay link up there and everything. And it really isn't that hard at all. People need digital downloads because there's tons of things that people are looking for. For example, content templates. Content templates are really popular. Graphic design templates. So Trello boards, those are all digital downloads. And so those are great sources of passive income, and they don't really take a lot of effort. I'm sure you could create one tonight if you wanted to. Referral bonus. So referral bonus is different than affiliate income. What that means is basically, I'm telling you, for every referral, I will pay you so much money. And so it's different than the affiliate thing where they're buying product. It's usually for service-based businesses, but that's a great thing to have, right? You can find somebody who's offering that and start mentioning them. And if they get hired through you, then you're good, right? And I do get referral bonuses and I do give them as well. So it's definitely a real thing. Any product you can sell online. So the e-store, you can set up a store. Right now, there's so many websites. Of course, Shopify is a big one. Amazon is a big one. Etsy is a really nice one. And you can just start selling your stuff, whatever you want to sell. A few years ago, my ex-mother-in-law, who's a very sweet woman, she knits hats and she knits like beanies. And we set up an Etsy store and started selling them for her. So it's not that hard. And that's a great way of getting some passive income. Advertising revenue. Oh yeah. So advertising revenue is really, really important because you can see right now, I'm streaming on YouTube, and why do most people go and start a YouTube channel? I mean, there's really a lot of benefits of having a YouTube channel. And one of the biggest benefits is ad revenue, right? YouTube pays you for a certain amount of views. So how many views do you actually have to have on YouTube to get paid? So basically, you have to have 1,000 subscribers, which isn't that hard to get if you put some effort into it. Which I'm going to start doing, by the way. So don't look at me as a good example. Look at me as somebody who's kind of starting out to focus on YouTube, and subscribe to my channel. And I think 1,000 subscribers is what you need. So it's not a high barrier to start getting AdSense on your account. But you also need to have, I think it's 4,000 hours of views. So don't quote me on that, but there is a certain threshold. So it's not just about having 1,000 subscribers. You also have to have a certain amount of views, and it's not a lifetime thing. It's like, I think within the past year kind of thing. So, you can look that up and figure out, how do I monetize on YouTube? I'm sure you'll find a million videos about it. And that's a way to make money. The other big place for ads is a blog. So when you hear all the time how to make passive income, you'll always see blogging. Blogging is always going to be on the list. But the reality is, it's not really the blog that makes you money. Like no one's paying you to put your blog online, right? Instead, what it is you are going to get your blog to be popular. You're going to drive traffic there. And once it's popular, you have ways of monetizing. There's several things. So the first one is put advertising on there. The second one is getting selling your stuff on there. So having links to your ebooks, your courses, your digital downloads. And the third way on your blog is affiliate. So you can always mention an affiliate. So all these other passive income sources we just talked about can all be integrated into a blog. But the main thing that people talk about is usually the ad revenue, because it's actually real money, guys. You can get ad revenue, and if you do things right on both your blog and on YouTube. And the third place you can get ad revenue is a podcast. So, people call those sponsorships, but it's ad revenue to me. Because if I put this into my billings, I'm going to classify it as ad revenue because I did an ad for you. I ran an ad by endorsing you on my podcast. And again, just like a blog, you have to put in the work to get your podcast to be popular. And the more popular it is, the more you can charge for these kind of things. And the fourth way of getting ad revenue is being a micro influencer. So micro influencers are gaining in importance. There's tons of research and tons of CMOs, chief marketing officers from companies, who are saying that they are making the budgets bigger for micro influence. And what that means is that brands recognize that they need to reach certain demographics, like young people who are all the time on social media, on TikTok, Instagram, Snap, who are not going to watch TV or even go on Facebook. So all the ads that they're running aren't really effective. So they look to micro influencers to reach those kind of people. And it's real money. This is a place where you can get a lot of money. And I call that ad revenue as well, from being a micro influencer. So now we're going to move into the last ones, which are boring. Boring. they're not boring once you get the money from them, but they're harder to get. Okay. I'll admit that now we're getting into the domain where um, you have to have invest money to make money. Okay. So, and these are all the financial passive income methods. Okay. So I'm sure you guys have all heard of stock investments. There are a ton of companies now that help you with investing in stock. So anybody can start investing. There's one that I like a lot called Acorns, where I think you can invest like $10 a month and they will buy stock for you. So, now there's a trend to making it really accessible for anybody to start investing in stock. And my advice to you is the more the better. The more you can invest, the more you will make dividends off of the stock. And what that means is when the stock goes up, you get a check. Okay. And so if you can say, oh, it's risky, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, there's tons of ways of managing out your portfolio. But seriously, this is a really strong way of making money because you can make a lot of money if you do things right. Licensing. So licensing, I put the definition in there because I think a lot of people don't really know what does that mean. It's money paid by someone using someone's property. So what that means is I just bought a really expensive camera and somebody who doesn't have the money to buy it is going to license it from me. So licensing is a lot like renting something from me that belongs to me. And another thing that people license is phones. So if you go to your phone provider, they probably keep offering you more phones, and it's kind of like a license. They're not selling the phone to you, they're licensing it. And then they say, okay, you have to trade it in by this date, or you have to make payments here to license it, is what it is. It's crazy. So there's all these interesting ways of making money with licensing. So if you own something that other people would want, for example, if you had a drone and you're like, you know what, I want to start licensing my drone because I know that there's tons of people who want to have that experience but don't have the money to buy the drone because drones can be really pricey. They might pay you to take the drone out. And of course, you can charge them a deposit check. So if they break the drone, you keep the deposit. So, and buy yourself a new drone. So, I mean, it's not that risky. Okay. Now, profits from business ownership. This is probably one of my favorites because I've gotten this and it is sweet. And what that means is you become the owner of different companies and you don't even work there. But when the company makes profit at the end of the year, they give you a cut. And it's pretty sweet. So that's all I'm going to say. But I mean, because I don't think it's attainable to a lot of people. But if you do have the opportunity to become a shareholder or a co-owner of a business, make sure everything's legally legit. And if you think it's a good thing, then you could really make some profits from it. The other one is royalties. So royalties is usage-based payments for an asset or property. So if you have a patent, you've patented or trademarked something, you can grant people the right to use it under certain circumstances for certain conditions. Like if you were an illustrator and you created illustrations for a book, you can negotiate with the publishing house or with the writer that you get royalties for your illustrations, and it's a percentage of the book sales. That's an example. Or if you have trademarked a name and people want to use this name for some reason, you can always ask for royalties. Photographers ask for royalties. A lot of people, musicians. So anytime you create something, you want to trademark it or patent it. Trust me. So lending is an interesting one because what that means is you can give people money in exchange for like percentages. So you're basically giving person a loan and they're paying you some kind of percentage. Isn't that cool? So if you ever have this opportunity, of course, again, you have to legally be careful. You don't want to lend money to somebody who is not going to pay you back or is going to run away with the money or I don't know what, but it could be pretty interesting. And there are now businesses popping up to organize this kind of thing. So I know specifically Lending Tree would be a place where anybody can come and say, hey, I'm willing to give some money in exchange for the percentages, and they manage everything for you. So if you're interested in this, just do some research and you'll find tons of ways of investing. So lending is a lot like an investment in a way, but anyway, capital gains. So what are capital gains? I'm sure you guys have heard this before, right? Capital gains. So essentially, this means that you own something that has appreciated. And for example, I sold my house for twice the money I bought it for. And so capital gains, this is something that people really invest in real estate for, because they know that over time things appreciate. Most real estate does if you make a good investment. So interest earned. This is going to be your savings, your bonds, your CDs. Over time, they are supposed to be making money for you. So that's the power of saving. And in fact, when you think of saving, exactly like the employee mentality, a lot of people tell me, well, I have a savings account. I don't believe in savings accounts. I think that that's wasted money, because you'll make a lot higher percentages if you invest that money somewhere else, like into stock, into real estate, into lending. Yes, the risk is higher. So you have to talk to your CPA and figure out if you're close to wanting to stop working, you're going to be less risk friendly. And you're going to want to invest in things that don't give you as high of a return, but are more stable. And the younger you are, the more risk you can take. So that's how it works. And you will earn interest over time. Great, right? And then you've got property investments and real estate. Very popular. Again, I'm sure you'll find a million videos here on YouTube about property investments and how to flip houses and how to do that. But the truth is, having rental income is priceless. I mean, if you can do this, if you can invest in real estate and you can get rental income, it's like a game of Monopoly. You just can keep growing and growing and growing. So every time you sell, you can reinvest the money, the rental money, and you can keep going up and make a crap load of money. So there are a few really good YouTube channels of people who have legitimately done this and made a lot of money. So it really can inspire you to start looking up on YouTube and finding those people. So this is my spreadsheet. And let me just explain one last thing, because I think you guys are like bored out of your mind because it's so boring to make money. But me not being a financial advisor, but I still think that everyone should responsibilize themselves. Everyone should be looking for these types of revenue. And so the only other thing I wanted to say is that I use this to calculate revenue. So here's the item that we just went over, then the type, and then you see I've also color coded them, active or passive. And then here you can use this to brainstorm and write down the name of a program. Ow, you just scratched me, baby. My cat just scratched me. So the name of a program, for example, and then do your pricing research and put the price in here and say, I want to deliver a money workshop. For example, I'm doing one twice in June, and you should sign up because you'll learn a lot and you'll have actionable items to help you. So this is an example. of how you would put in here, well, the workshop costs this much per unit. And then how many am I trying to sell? And then you'll have your monthly goal, your target goal. Okay. And let's say that you use this as a real spreadsheet. You get to the bottom and you've got your grand total. So basically you just tally it all up and that's your gross earnings. Now remember, all of this stuff is not including tax. So when you responsibilize yourself for your own money, which you should, you will have to have an accounting software. You will have to make sure you're forecasting taxes. You know, I posted a couple of days ago on LinkedIn, where I hang out a lot, a post about how I find that people need to be making six figures, and it angered a few people who were saying, "No, I only make like five figures, and I'm doing just fine. I'm supporting my entire family." And my response is really that, you know, if you want to be rich, you're going to have to count for all the reinvesting that you need to do. So the spreadsheet that I'm sharing with you right now, this is something that if you take all the income that you make from these things and you live lean, minimalist, you reinvest your money into the big stuff. The big stuff would be like the real estate, the stock, right? Hiring people to go out there and do all kinds of stuff for you that will bring you more money. And that's the secret. The secret is, when you make money, you don't just spend it and say, I'm good, because that's small thinking. Think bigger. That's my message to you guys. Responsibilize yourself for your own money and think big, and never put your eggs in one basket. Diversify and grow, and don't make excuses, because honestly, there's all the things I showed you. You can do this all on the side, really. So this weekend, you could make 3 income streams. And that's another reason I'm doing this money workshop, because I think people need more hands-on advice or guidance. And I've been doing this for years. So I definitely think that this is something important that more people need to hear about. So if you have any questions, please DM me on any channels. If you want a copy of this spreadsheet, I'd be happy to send it to you. Just message me. And definitely please go out there and get wealthy. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you soon.